And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Seven Wonders won the Dice Tower Game of the Year for 2010. It is certainly a very well-received game. It's a game that people are just loving playing. I'm constantly getting people asking to play it, the fact that it takes a lot of players. There's not a huge amount of depth to the game, so with a game winning awards like the Spiel des Jahres, etc., one could expect an expansion to be on the way, and the first expansion, I'm assuming there will be more, is out now. It's the Leaders expansion. This adds world-famous leaders like Leonidas or Midas and other leaders to the game, and it adds a few other things too. What does this do to the game? Well, let's talk about how it affects the game, and then I'll tell you what I think. The expansion doesn't really add anything, overly complicated to the game. It adds a handful of coins that are worth a value of 6. Okay, those are added to the game. It adds 4 new guilds, and 2 of them have to do with leaders, so you can only use them in a game. One of the new guilds is the Gamers Guild, which I just get a kick out of that because it looks like this is the origins of Rome. And the Architect Guild, this is interesting. It gives you 3 points for every guild that people have next to you. So, some more guilds. Of course, that's always good to have extra flavor of those in the game. And one of the guilds even comes with a token, a courtesy token, which is used with its special rules. But the game is all about this deck of leaders. Okay, there's a deck of leaders, and what this does at the game, first of all, everyone starts with 6 coins at the beginning rather than 3, and then there's an extra drafting round. At the very beginning of the game, players are going to draw 4 leader cards. They're going to look at the leaders that they've drawn. They are going to, this is a blank leader, by the way. You can do anything you want with this one, and this is Stevie Wonder, who is actually a special leader that comes in. You have to find them in a promo somewhere. So let's use the regular ones. You pick one of these, and then you pass them to your right, and then you take the 3 that they pass you and pick one until you have 4 leaders. At the beginning of each of the 3 main phases of the game, there is a recruitment phase now before you do anything else, and you can play one of your leader cards. If you notice, each leader has a cost in money at the top. You can simply play them in front of you, and you now have that special ability. For example, this guy here, if you have 1 card of every color at the end of the game, he'll give you 7 points for that. Or this gentleman here gives you 1 point for every blue card you have, and so on and so forth. And there's different special abilities. We'll talk about that in a bit. Or you can play one just like you can during the normal game, face down, as long as you play the correct cost and put down a stage of your Wonder of the World. Or you can simply discard one for 3 coins. At the what these leaders do then, it's kind of like an extra card, but these cards can drive your strategy. For example, here if you have Midas, he gives you a point at the end of the game for every $3 that you have, an extra one. Instead of getting 1, you get 2. So if you have this leader in front of you, you have to sit there and say, okay, maybe my strategy should be about money, and should I play him in my first round, or my second round, or my third round? Some of them, like this guy here, he makes the cost of the green cards 1 less when you are getting those. While it gives you 1 extra point for every green card that you have. And if you combine these cards with each other, some of them are just straight points, and they're cheaper. Others that are more expensive will have special abilities. They might cause you to go for a military strategy like Caesar. If you play him during the first round, that's a big jump on everybody else around you. Giving money to other players, and again, the special abilities. Now, you probably won't know what all the special abilities are. Some are obvious if it's the same as a card from the original game, but the rule book comes with this, explaining the guilds and all the different leaders. But the leaders will kind of focus how you play. Then Rome is included as a new civilization and has special abilities towards your leaders. It gives you leaders at a reduced cost, and the stages of the Wonder of the World will help you get points and actually draw more leaders. So Rome is all about utilizing leaders. The disadvantage of Rome is you don't have a lot of resources, so hopefully the leaders you get will be able to help you get resources from those around you, just like the Roman Empire actually was. So that's what's included in the expansion. I think it can be said very safely that Seven Wonders Leaders is more of the same. That is not a negative or really a positive statement, I suppose. If you like Seven Wonders, then you'll like the leaders. Now, what the leaders do is they help you define your strategy. When you get the leaders and you pick your leaders and draft them at the beginning, which, just essentially feels like there's another round of Seven Wonders now, and you draft the leaders, the ones you pick will kind of determine what things you do. Before, it was really open-ended. Now your leader helps determine what other cards you draft. So that's good. But drafting the leaders and playing leaders feels very similar to the basic game. The extra cards, the guilds, the coins, that's all window dressing, and that's nice. But for the most part, this is all about the leaders. Now, do they make a difference in scoring? Yes. In fact, the new culture is very powerful for that player. I think that's it's a neat culture to have, and you got to keep an eye on them because of their leaders. And you are watching things more, so that's a slightly more in-depth layer to the game. It's not fantastic. If you remember my initial review, I like Seven Wonders. I don't see I understand the fuss, I guess, but I don't think it's one of the greatest games ever. But this expansion does make it a little bit better, but it makes it. There's more of the game now. And so if you like Seven Wonders, you will probably like this. But I would not ever play the leaders with someone who has not played before because it adds just a little bit too much complexity. But if you play Seven Wonders, this will really flow in seamlessly, with the exception of you're going to be passing around the sheet of what all these new icons mean on all the leader cards. And that will probably take a while till you get used to what each of the leaders do. So if you like Seven Wonders, you probably already got a copy of this anyway. It does fit easily into the box, and so you can chuck this one. But cool, more of the same. I'm hoping that the next expansion has some, adds some twists to the game, but we'll have to wait and see for that one. For now, this is a good enough one.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.